Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, being your own landlord, but you didn't quite know how or where to get the money or what pieces to put together regarding how it all works? Maybe the financing and the management and the tenant selection and the construction and contracting and all that craziness. Well, you are in the right place to learn and witness what Dan Barrero and me, what we do on a daily basis, dealing with real estate. Together, we have been in business for over 50 years, and every Sunday at 7:30 we love coming on here and just sharing with you what we're doing, how we're doing it, what type of deals we're doing, what how we're pivoting, how we're financing things, because there are some people that continually buy real estate every year after year after year, while some people can't figure out how to buy maybe one or two houses. And you are here in the right place to learn how to do this stuff. Dan Barrero, how you doing, brother?
Always a pleasure to be sharing the screen with you, brother. Every Sunday night, I look forward to it. Man.
Yes, sir. Guys, we're going to be taking phone calls. If I can find my phone, hopefully it will work tonight. It will work. It
Yeah.
will work.
Hopefully the tech got new training this week.
And I've tested it. I tested it right before we went on. I hope it
You
works.
said that the last time too.
I know. I don't know what stupid thing. We are opening up the ultimate landlord survival guide. We're going to be talking about that because we want to make sure that you don't call us after you place the tenant in the property. Talk about that, Dan.
Yeah, Chris and I were constantly comparing notes when we have these one-on-one consultations that people pay us for. And there's two things that we find that 8 out of 10 times, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, is people incorrectly analyze the deal or incorrectly took over property without vetting the tenants, making sure that that they were either bad or good tenants. Like when we take over a property, we instantaneously know when we walk the property if we're going to have an issue with one particular tenant or not, right? And we're taking that into consideration when we are making our offers as well. So besides that, the other problem that we find that we get a lot of consultations on is people have properties and they place the wrong tenant, or they
Mhm.
just or the tenants are managing them instead of them managing their tenants, right?
A lot of that.
Yeah. So we are here to literally tonight to kick off to the public uh, this our new mastermind class, the ultimate landlord survival guide.
That's
Now
right.
there are people that have already signed up for the waiting list.
Yep.
You've
Should
already
people already signed up to be in the class? Shoot.
Yeah, those people reached out to first. As we said, we would give them the first opportunity, and now we are opening that up to the public. Remember, guys, we are going to keep this to a limited amount of seats because we want to make sure that everyone gets our undivided attention when they're asking their questions. Hello, Miss Deborah Jackson.
Deborah's in the class. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for supporting us. Deborah in the building. New
So
Jersey.
I highly recommend you guys schedule your one-on-one consultations with us. It's going to be 15 minutes long each consultation. And the reason we're not opening this up with just a website. Do have a website set up for you to sign up for, but we want to do a consultation first. We want to make sure that this is a class that you're going to be the right fit for, as well as that we're going to be the right fit for you. This class is going to be literally real estate 4.0 on steroids. It's going to be 4 weeks, 2 days a week. It's going to be 2 hours or 2.5 hour per class. It's going to come with my personal workbook that I've been working on for over a year.
Let me
Got over
bring that up, Dan.
27 pages. Then, because I'm going to take care of the conventional side of renting. Um,
That's
and
Dan's book, y'all.
there
Finally
you
getting
go,
it done.
guys. That's going
Dan
to be
Barrero.
the workbook. So, and Chris is going to have his workbook on how to manage tenants with Section 8, how to find those right tenants from Section 8, how to
My
work the Section
favorite
8
tenant.
department. Chris is going to be talking about how to do lease options, which is something that I don't do. I actually, whenever I'm going to do a Section 8, I have a Section 8 question, I reach out to Chris. Um, so, again, guys, this is your opportunity to literally get on the bottom, to get into this class first. Chris, you want to tell them where they could sign up for their consultation to see if we're the right fit for them.
That's right. What we're doing right now, y'all. There's a link right below. Schedule 15 minutes to talk with Dan and I directly. We want to make sure that we're a good fit for each other because this is not for everybody. This is a unique situation. This is for people that want to take this stuff seriously, and it's not easy. Every day, Dan, I just remind myself how hard this shit is, dude. It's not the real, it looks so easy from the outside, doesn't it? It seems like we just go to the box and get checks.
Yeah, it's not. It's funny. I've been putting up posts and I get some trolls. And when I'm speaking, when those trolls are like, "Oh, landlords, you're a slum landlord," I'm like,
Yeah, they do.
"And my apartment is gorgeous, and I'm a slum landlord." Or they'll be like, or I did a post where I was on a roof, putting up some roofing cement in places that I thought that was may have a potential leak, not now, but in the future, because then I go and I aluminum coat all my roofs, right?
Oh, wow. That's
The
a
guy,
beast move, dog.
one of the trolls was like, "Oh, go get a real job." I'm like, "What does that mean?" So what do we do, Chris? We make jobs.
Yeah, basically.
We make jobs. Shit, I spent over $300,000 in material last year.
That's crazy, man.
Right? That material had to be delivered to job sites. That material had to be stocked in that particular vendor's place. You know, that vendor needed people to manage that material, moving the material onto their shelves, taking it off the shelves, putting it on the trucks, the truck drive. We create jobs. So, again, if you want to be a person that creates jobs, a person that pays teachers and principals and janitors, and you're going to say, why? How is that possible? Well, we pay real estate taxes. Where's our real estate taxes go to?
Right to the city.
Right to the school system too, right?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
how many? There's a Matthew Pryor is asking how many rentals does Chris have?
I
So
got.
don't even answer that, Chris, and I'll tell you why. I
Let's say
hate.
it's irrelevant, man.
You should be asking about the quality of our rentals, Matthew,
And the debt.
right? And the debt. So I
And
met
the
a
debt.
guy who had 300 doors. This was about 3 years ago at a conference, and he came up to me. He was like bragging. I was like, "That's great, man. What's your net? What are you netting a month?" So he says, "I'm netting about 30,000, not between 30 to 33,000 a month." And I'm like, "Bro, that's great. You should be proud of yourself." So my brother, he walks away. My brother's like, "But why would you tell him that's good?" And I said, "Because he's not ready to hear the truth.
Uh-uh.
He's preoccupied with the social media bullshit about the more doors you have, the better you are. No,
It's crazy.
right? What you should be asking, Matthew, is what about the quality of doors? And I'll give you an example. So I have a door in Brooklyn, New York, that's 6 doors, two
We're gonna
commercial.
get the question. We're gonna get to put the phone up in a minute, y'all. Give us a second.
I have a property in Park Slope, Brooklyn. It's 4 apartment, 2 stores. I'm pulling 28,000 a month from 6 doors. So
Good
who got it
Lord.
better, me or the guy with 300 doors?
Dad,
That's
you too much, dog.
so you should be asking about the quality of
You
doors,
too
right?
much, man.
The amount of doors.
You are too much, brother. I can't wait to show you this, Dad. I didn't even tell you what I was gonna show you tonight. Y'all, so let's get into this. I get to talk. Dan is like my mentor, right? I get to talk to him about all this stuff. But make sure if you want to hang out with Dan, if you see the value of hanging out with Dan Borrero and me for 4 weeks straight, go below, click on the link to set a time to call with both of us. A call with us. We're gonna meet on a Zoom, see what your situation is, to see if we can help you with your business, right? Let's take this off. Dan, I want to show you. So I'm doing a lease option amongst a million other things that we're doing. I want to show you what the tenant put on their application. So y'all, I want you to understand we do rent to owns. I do traditional rentals. I got a bunch of them, but I do more rent to owns, lease options, and land contracts. And we get applications for these things, right? The good thing about lease options and land contracts is we get a huge down payment up front. Okay. And I wanted to show Dan an application that I got in the other day, which I'm looking to go with this person. But this is why we do lease options. And I want to ask Dan, if he got this application, what would he be thinking? Okay. Oh, all right. So Dan, here's part of the app, right? Can you see it?
Other source of income. Let's see. Other. Okay. He put down
But
a
I want you to see this right here.
receive a law settlement trust bank 150. Okay.
Okay, now I'm starting to get a little tasty now. I'm starting to get happy now, y'all. So that's the first. I'm not gonna show you all the whole app, but that was the part. Well, maybe I can show you. Let me see. I did want to show you another. We could do this part too, Dan. I really want this house. Cool.
I can't see it. You got to go up a little bit more.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take it off because I don't want to have her name, have the person's name on here. Let me do this, y'all. This is real time real estate. Like this is what I'm doing. How about now, Dan? You see it?
Much better. Yes.
Y'all, we're looking at an application. I really want this house. I love it when people. They really care about the house. Make it my forever home. Cool. I would take care of it. I'm responsible with money, and always presuming he or she is saying pay on time and on payments. I'm coming out of a long-term abusive relationship and starting over here. I also have a co-signer if needed. All right. Not there yet, Dan. I still want you to hold tight with me.
Man, I see so many red flags already, bro.
All right, hold tight. Before we go there, I'm gonna show you one more thing, then we're gonna get your opinion on this.
Crazy part is most people would say 150,000. She's gonna be good because she's got a lawsuit. I'm looking at it differently, but
we'll look at it. So then I get this here. I actually get the picture of the check, Dan. She got 169K. She got that a year and a half ago, 2023. All right. So for me, I wanted to ask Dan. Can you see the check? It's a cashier's check.
I see it, 169,000.
So she ain't BSing me. She's not BSing me. But I want to take you out of the traditional. First of all, what would you say on a traditional tenant and then on a lease option tenant, Dan? Go.
I think it's either or. Like where you're at, I think it works well for you because mostly where you're at is single family homes, right? Where I'm at, it wouldn't really work well for me because it's multifamily homes, so you're not going to get that lease option type of a tenant unless or co-op, something to that effect, right? So for the area that you're in, for your backyard, I think lease options is an incredible way for you to go because you get a large chunk up front as well.
She got the money, Dan. She's coming in. My thing is she's got the money. Now, what are you thinking about what you saw so far for traditional rental? And obviously,
I would love. Okay, so let's bounce this off, guys. What I would love to know what the audience thinks about that.
That's a good. You know what? Then put the phone number up, Dan. That's a good point here.
Y'all, I would love to know what the audience thinks.
So, Dan,
voicing our opinion.
That's true. I didn't even tell my opinion yet, but I want to know what do y'all think? So we do lease options. What do we look for when we're worried about a lease option, y'all? What do we look for? Number one, down payment. What do they have? We want $6,000 out of this deal here, right? And the rent's only $1,375. It's not a lot of rent. The reason we want a down payment is because over time, if they screw up the property, we've got more money. You always want to have more money in the kitty than you have risk with the tenant. Now, I don't care if they never pay. If they don't pay next month. It's irrelevant. I got 5 or 6 grand. See, the problem with Dan is it takes him 2 to 3 years to get somebody out.
So no, in New York, it would take me 5 to 7 years. What? And over $100,000 in lease.
Oh, damn. I thought you told me it's 3 years.
For rental, not for a lease option. Let's suppose if I was holding the mortgage, I shouldn't say that. If I did a mortgage, it would take me 5 to 7 years. On a rental, it would take me about 3 years right now. 2.5, 3 years.
The Eagles don't fly low. I love that. She right about that, man. She right about that. Y'all call and let me know what you think about that one. That's a good point.
So I got to tell you, so we're getting some good responses. So Mr. True says, what the lawsuit settlement for? Suspicious.
Oh, she had a loved one die. Mother died.
She had who died?
She had her mother passed away.
Okay, but again, what was the lawsuit for, right?
Let's see. Let me see. Put it on. She told me. That's here.
Yeah. So guys, you want to come on live and ask us your questions or tell us what you think? There's a few suspicions that I have with this
She
client.
told me it's from the mother that passed away. So we're saying that it might be a troubled tenant because she might be Sue happy. Is that what y'all thinking? That's a good
That's
point,
number one.
Matt. That's a good one. What's a lawsuit from? Could be another landlord trying to pay out.
Yeah.
That's a daggone. What's up, Ernesto? What up, brother? One of our ultimate landlords in the building, along with
Ernesto.
Deborah.
Deborah's also another ultimate landlord.
That's
Ernesto's
right.
an ultimate landlord. Um, so
Uh,
that's the first red flag for me. You
what do
know,
you think? Do you think she sued somebody?
she
She
obviously,
told me it was from somebody that. She told me it was from her mother passing away and left her some money. But that's not what it says here. It says a lawsuit.
that's an estate, not a lawsuit.
Maybe her mother got into an accident. I got to figure that out. I don't know if her mother got into it. She told me it's from something with her mother dying.
Yeah. So listen, in my opinion, there's some people when they sue, they just get sue happy because it's a payday, right? I remember when I was a kid, it was a friend of mine from the neighborhood. That son of a bitch. I mean, I haven't kept in touch with him, but I knew he sued at least 3 times. He sued New York City Department of Transportation. He steps in front of the bus and then sues New York City.
You're
The
joking.
bus hit him, right?
You are joking.
Another time he sued the cops. Another time he was riding his bike and he said the car hit him.
Mm, mm, mm.
Again, the guy never worked a day in his life that I knew him, and I knew him until I was almost 30. And the crazy part was every time he got that money, he was living large.
What?
He was living real large, right?
Mm.
My other concern, does anyone else spot something on that check that was concerning? Did anyone spot what was concerning on that check?
Let's look at it. What do you see, Dan? I blocked out a lot of the stuff I didn't want to have.
So I want everyone to see what's on this check, the amount of this check. Do you see the amount of that check and the date?
It says
June
629.
June 29th of 2023, which means in 3 months, 3.5 months, that would be 2 years ago. And she's got $169,000 check. That's after her legal fees, I'm assuming, because that's a net. Now go back to the application if you don't mind.
Dan tearing me apart, y'all. Dan's picking it apart. Lord have mercy. Y'all thought I had me somebody. That's why I hang out with guys like Dan Borrero. Y'all give Dan a thumbs up on this.
I want you guys to realize the check amount was literally 169,000, and she says she's got how much saved?
She's got
150,000 in trust bank. So that tells me that in 2 years she should have no less than $200,000 with
Did
compound.
she growing the money, Dan?
Right? Instead, she took out $20,000. She took out 20,000, and the money hasn't grown with the compounded interest or any type of investment. That tells me that she doesn't have a good relationship with money. Because if that was you and I, Chris, and we got that 169,000, how much would that be worth today in 2 years?
I mean, at least two. I would try. I mean, at least two. I
Shit.
could make 30 grand.
To make at least 2,000, to make at least 30,000, we could do that shit in our sleep without even thinking about it.
That's just sticking it in the bank.
Yeah. So that tells me she's living above her means. In addition, how you gonna have $160,000, $170,000 check, and you only have fair credit instead of good credit?
Wow, that's deep, Dan.
So I'm looking in the application for personality traits that give me an indication of a person's personality traits. Now, I could very well be wrong, And a lot of these questions could be answered on with an interview.
Why
But
do you have why do you have challenge credit when you got 150 large? That is so
why do
deep.
you have any credit when you don't even own a house? You know, again,
That's deep, dog. My credit would be I would pay off all my debtors,
yep.
all my creditors. Dan, now let me make sure. They did tell me that they work for. I remember telling you this OnlyFans, right? And I'm not saying any names here. I'm not going pulling anybody's business. What's your opinion on
Same
OnlyFans?
person.
Same person. I'm getting. I told you she gave me checks. I guess she's making 3,600, 4,000 a month. I got the checks here. You want? I can put the checks up. She took screenshots of all the checks.
Well, then you're not showing me the whole application, because then I would look at what her current bank account is besides the lawsuit money.
Let me see. I don't want to pull up a name. I didn't. Let me see if I can pull up the checks.
Don't even worry about it. So my point is, we don't want to put out her business out there.
Yeah. Oh, but
The point is, guys, every application needs to be looked on differently. So OnlyFans, do I care she's on OnlyFans? No, I don't care she's on OnlyFans.
I don't care.
One of my best tenants was on OnlyFans, and she was making shitloads of money showing feet and hands. It's kind of weird. Like, she actually showed me. I was like, oh, she was showing feet and her hands. And she was making crazy amounts of money, right? So I was like, you know what? Good for you. If you make all that kind of money showing your feet and hands, go for it. I love it. And she turned out to be one of my best tenants, by the way. Quiet as sin, never had guests. Paid everything, online. I would always have my money on the first of the month. Actually, she's still my tenant. And she's been about 5 years already.
Good people. I'm not even mad at OnlyFans. In fact, I'm trying to learn more about it. I need to do something my dad gonna say. I can show my hairy back. Can hairy back guys get on hairy chest?
So the point is, like, her personality
matter.
is great. Whenever she has a problem, she sends it into the office via email. She gives us access to go in and fix it. She's a great tenant, right?
I like it.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
They got A Castillo, was the ultimate landlord in the building. What up?
Another
Castillo.
ultimate landlord in the house.
I don't like her for traditional tenant because she's not showing a history of taking responsibility. You right?
It depends. Let's say you said she was making 4,000 a month, and she had decent credit, and she had
fair credit.
What is fair credit?
Well, since I do these options, I want them to tell me what they think their credit is. I'm not running the credit, but I'm like, if you tell me fair credit is going to be between, and from my perspective, between under 680, 670.
So think about this, Chris. You hear what you just said from your perspective. So what may be fair to you doesn't necessarily mean it's fair to someone else.
That's right.
Hence the reason why I never in my lease allow, or any of my contracts, I allow the word fair or reasonable, because that's a matter of perspective from different personality traits.
No doubt.
Not allow those words in any lease or contract that I ever sign.
What about on the application? Then don't forget, this is a lease option application, because I'm not pulling their credit anyway.
I would still be checking their credit.
You think I should?
Oh, without a doubt.
What would you be looking for?
I'm looking for decent credit. You don't have to have a 780 credit, because if you did, you probably could afford to just buy out the house. But you can't have less than 660, 670 minimum.
Mr. Chu says OnlyFans ain't guaranteed. I thought that was one of the best businesses in the world.
You know what, though? What business is guaranteed, Mr. True?
That is a daggone good point.
I would love to know what business that any self-employment person is in that is guaranteed. The only guarantee you have is being successful in any business is getting up and working your ass off every day.
Another ultimate landlord, the Hammonds. What up, Dana and my man James?
Hello, Dana. How are you? We actually have a lot of ultimate landlord family members in the house.
Sure do. Y'all in here.
Guys, put up your questions if you like.
Put your questions up.
Call us on that number.
Dan just destroyed my little. I was like, man, shoot, lady got 6K. I don't care. When I'm doing lease options and contract for deeds, Dan, I have to ask myself, do I even care? Do I
Look,
care?
I want everyone here to realize Chris is in a much different position than Dan Borrero is. Dan Borrero to get rid of a tenant in New York City is going to take him 3 years.
How do you say that with a straight face?
You know what?
How? 3 years? I mean, that really, Dan, you're
It's
saying that like
it's just
it's
battle
okay.
scars. It's just battle scars. It's a business I chose.
They didn't beat you up so bad 3 years. I'm like, 3 years? I'm out of business in 3 years.
You know what, man? It's fortunate that I'm in a position where I could spread that one apartment not paying me rent, living there for free over
Wow.
all my doors.
Good
'Cause I have a lot of
God.
doors. But when you have
God.
a landlord that's a mom and pop where they live downstairs, the apartments upstairs, which happens a lot in the city, could you imagine having to walk in your house every day, seeing your tenant go on vacation with Louis Vuitton bags, buying a new car,
Mm,
and telling the judge they ain't got the money to pay you?
mm, mm, mm. That's a monster. Only Dan's. You got your only Dan's. He can talk about real estate, Dan. All right. Well, that's all I have for you, Dan. I wanted you to see that application. And guys, I want y'all to understand there's two ways to do this business traditional. Well, not two, there's multiple ways. There's a whole bunch of ways to do it. But we get to decide. Dan has a stringent way he looks at applicants. I am looking for just a few things because if, in fact, Dan, I want people to understand if they move in and don't pay me, I don't really care. I'm earnestly don't even care. I mean, now
Tell people how long it takes you to get rid of them.
if I really go balls to the walls, I have them on less than 90 days.
Yeah. Versus me, almost 3 years. So I have to be so much more stringent on my rental
That's
applications.
true. That's true.
Because think about this: my lowest rent is $2,500 a month.
Wow. I have nothing at 2,500.
That's $30,000 a year. At 3 years, that's $90,000 that I lost.
Good God.
Right. So I look at it like when I'm going to rent my apartment to a tenant applicant, I'm looking at it like I'm lending you $30,000 a year of my
Mm,
money.
mm.
I am the bank, and I am essentially giving you a credit line of $30,000 if you're paying
Good Lord.
$2,500 a month.
Good Lord.
So I'm gonna ask for documents that the bank's gonna ask for, just like when I go to the bank and ask them for a loan. And if you think that's too tough, there's so many other
Enough for
things
you.
you could go and apply for as well.
Let's talk about that, Dan. I want people to understand I am so to the point like we're probably not the guys for you.
Yeah,
I'm not the probably the landlord you're looking for. I'm so comfortable with saying that. And I hear when I see new investors, they don't want to let that tenant go or that fish off the hook. How did you get to that step, Dan? How'd you get to that place?
when I realized that it was cheaper to have an empty apartment than having an apartment that's tenanted with someone that's not paying.
I want y'all to get that, y'all. It's better to have an empty building than a bad tenant in it. And I know we all want to put the tenant because most of us have mortgages. And that's why me and Dan preach free and clear. I know we might look like schmucks. I know they might talk about us. I know they're gonna say we don't know what we're doing. Why are you putting money into what they say? Then why are you putting money into bricks? But your pillow is soft at night.
Real soft.
And when the market turns, and no one, it's so weird. These markets turn, they turn, boy, and you just get caught right in the middle, and you look back, and all you're doing is paying the mortgage company. That's all
Actually,
you're
you're
doing.
not paying them; your tenants are paying them.
I'm talking about when the market shifts and your tenants move out and you stuck with a vacancy. All you doing is paying the mortgage company. I have been there. You been there, Dan?
I have, but it's not. It was that happened to me only maybe twice. But I've learned from those mistakes, and hence what we speak about this on many occasions on this same platform is you need to buy according to the numbers, not based on emotions or anxiety of missing out, right?
Mhm.
If the numbers don't make sense, you don't buy it.
Tim Smith asks, is this ultimate landlord survival guide for new investors or seasoned investors? Dan?
I would say both. If you're not doing over 150 doors, you could definitely get a lot of value from this ultimate landlord survival guide. If you are just starting off, you definitely need this. Like I said, guys, this is the amount of money we're charging is a small fraction. It's like a speck of sand on the beach in comparison to what you could possibly lose.
Mm-hmm. One loss, 15K.
Yeah. We're not going to get rich off of this, guys. But we see a need. Everyone's out there on social media teaching you how to use other people's money.
Yeah.
That's the way, you know, we do that with private money. And we secure their investment by making them the first mortgagee on the property. Right. So God forbid something happens to Chris or myself, they have recourse because they're the bank on that property. But everyone else is out there teaching you wholesaling, or you don't need no money to get into this business. That's all a lie. You need money to get into this business. I don't care what side you're in, right? Oh, we could teach you how to get rich in 3 years, 5 years. Don't follow Chris and I, because we're telling you the truth. That ain't happening in 3 years or 5 years, right? There's a process, there's procedures, the harder you work, yes, you will be successful. But the reality is that you got to work smarter too. And
This stuff take time, man.
This is to help you work smarter and take and manage your tenants the right way.
Deborah says, am I checking the rental history? Yes, I'm going to, but I don't really weigh it that much because once again, Deborah, I want people to understand if they got 6K to give me, I don't want to seem like I'm because I'm doing lease option. I want to get them qualified and I'm gone. I want them to take me out within 2-3 years. So as long as they've got that down payment, Deborah, we're ahead of the game. That's why we don't do security deposits. I do not do security deposits, y'all. I want to make sure we're clear. Like people say deposit, I don't do deposits. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So Mr. Chu's asking, what's the cash on cash you guys look for minimum? If I'm not doing at least a 12 to 16% on cash on cash, I don't want it.
Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. State your name and where you calling from.
What up, Chris and Dan? This is Ernesto.
Ernesto, what about?
How are you, Ernesto?
What's going on? I first want to say thank you. I'm so grateful for you too.
You in South
Dakota?
You guys
have taught me a tremendous amount.
You in North Dakota?
North Dakota.
No, okay.
North Dakota, that's right. So Ernesto, tell them who you are. Ernesto is actually part of the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide family. He signed up, and he actually was the second person to sign up, I think, because that was the first day we opened it up, right, Chris?
Yeah, man. Thank you, Ernesto. What you got going on? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for the.
Did we lose Ernesto?
I'm ready for it. So, like I said, I can't wait.
That's cool.
Man, and I can't. We can't wait to start the class because we're so excited too. Thank you, man.
Yeah. I feel like every time I come to a class where there's the mentorship or there's the blueprint or the contractor class, I'm invigorated, to be honest. So
thank you, brother. Thank you. What you
I
got?
love it, man. Thank you.
Some snow. You got snow up there? Is it warm or snow?
Man, I'm gonna have snow until like July.
What's going on?
The question I got for you, I'm doing my HELOC, right? And you guys mentioned, hey, look,
let everybody know what the HELOC is. Let everybody know what the HELOC is real quick.
Home equity line of credit. So
right, cool.
I'm taking out an equity line of credit on my primary residence, so that way I can use that as the down payment for some of the properties I hope to get in the future. Mm-hmm. So the process I'm going through with is, one, they want to do an appraisal. They want to charge me $1,000 for the appraisal. And
what?
Two, yeah. So that's like, I don't know if that's just where I'm at. Like I said, it's one of those things. So yeah. So it's not just for the appraisal. It's for their admin fee and all that stuff. So if that was something that I should consider, it's like, no, I'll choose somebody else, or how that all plays out.
All right. So I hear two things wrong with everything you just said. Chris, you mind me if I jump in on this one?
Yeah, hit it, dog.
So Chris and I don't use our home equity loans ever for a down payment. We use our home equity lines as a bridge loan. If you need a down equity line to provide a down payment, I don't recommend you doing that because you're gonna put yourself in a position of a lot of hurt, especially if the home is used to house your family in, right? Remember, your family's in that house, right? So you want to put your personal home at risk as least as possible. So now I have a home equity line, right? And I take that home equity, and I'll give you an example. So we just did a property where I bought it for $300,000. I bought it outright cash using my own money because it was easier. I got a better deal for negotiating with a cash deal than going with a mortgage because we closed it in 2 weeks. But now I didn't have the cash money to fix up the house because I got my money put into other properties. So I went into my home equity line for $150,000, right? Renovated the house, put it on the contract on the 3rd month, was out of it by the end of the 5th month. And at the end of the 5th month, I paid back my home equity line in full. So I was using it more as a bridge loan than the end all to be all to get the property. Because what happens is you're putting it down as a down payment, but then what happens is you got to hope that you did all your numbers right. Because remember, on a home equity line, the interest rates are fluctuating. So if the interest rates are going up, that mortgage payment every month on that equity line is going up. So now you got to hope that second property is making enough cash flow to pay the existing mortgage on that property plus your home equity line. Putting yourself too much on the home, it's too risky. Now, secondly, when it comes to home equity lines, any bank that tells you to pay $1,000 for the fees or for the appraisal, walk away. The best banks to go to for home equity lines is municipal banks, credit union banks, savings and loans banks, regular savings banks. If you're going to like the Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they're gonna rake you to the coals and most likely tell you no. That's what they do. What's your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I'm not mad at Ernesto for number one going out there and checking the trees. I'm happy that you did that. You know?
Yeah, it's a local bank, so that's why I was kind of curious. I've never dealt with it before. Like I said, it's not just for the appraisal; it's for all their document fees and all that as well.
No,
so it would. I guess I get what you're saying.
I've had multiple home equity lines.
Go ahead, Ernesto. Let me hear him, Dan. I can hear him.
Go ahead.
You're good. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. So the purpose for it, like I said, either would be the down payment or, like you're saying, the bridge loan. So getting hard money for the actual purchase of the property, and then taking the home equity line to go ahead and do the rent or the rehabs on it. So that way, after the rehabs are done, then I can go ahead and refinance it out.
I'm not mad
I like that. I like that a lot.
Ernesto, I will say you're here to get value, right? And then I would go back to that bank. They try to do that shit to me. So I just got a line of credit. My second one, I refinanced and pulled another one out of my home. And they tried to charge me something, and I told them I told them I wasn't going to pay it. I'm just going to go somewhere else. And they wiped it away. They're like, we're not going to charge you anything. However, they do require you to hold it for 2 years.
Yes.
So because they're going to get their money back. They're going to get their money back in 2 months from the interest, Ernesto. And tell them that, like, look, Mr. Banker, you're going to get your money back in 2 months. Why would you even charge me? So they may add it to your, say if you borrow $250, they might say, well, now you owe us $252. But for you to go have to come out your pocket or something, I don't think that's fair.
No way. No way.
That's fair.
Yeah. But they're going to require you to hold
follow up to that.
For 2 years.
Go ahead, Ernesto.
A follow-up to that, once they actually do the appraisal, does that come back for the assessed value and then raise the taxes on it?
No.
No, okay.
No.
It's not a sale. It's a mortgage. It's not a sale.
Yeah, you're refinancing. You're taking the money.
Gotcha. Okay.
Make it happen, dog.
Okay.
Go get that money, man.
So I appreciate y'all too. So
go get that money.
Thank you, Ernesto.
All right, Ernesto. Good seeing you.
Take care. God bless.
I'm glad he's getting access to that money, man.
I love it. And you know what? I remember talking to Ernesto. He's a very sensible person. He's not that person who's going to go out there and buy a new car or go on big vacations with that money. He's not going to spend that money on frivolous consumer items that are depreciating.
Smart man.
Right? Yeah, he's going to use it just right. That guy.
Now, these lines of credit, y'all, can get your ass in a sling. So you better be disciplined. There's no way to use this money to go out there and spend it on anything consumed. All you're gonna do is rewind time for your life. Tell you what happened to me. I got my first line of credit in 2004, 2005. Spent it all. It's almost like I went back in time. I owed more than my property than I borrowed at first, and it's just not a good look to do that.
No, I have a family member bought a house. Actually, the same time I bought this house, it's going to be 27 years ago, and he bought it for $325,000, and when he's selling it now to move, and I says, well, bro, I said your mortgage must be almost nothing at this point, and he was like, nah, that's the point. This is why I got to get this amount because it's only going to leave me $300,000 left over, and I'm like, bro, how is that possible? I know what you paid for the house, and because it's $1 million house now, but he owes $600,000. How do you buy a house for $350 that was in decent shape? I understand you may have upgraded. He put a new kitchen over the years, 2 bathrooms, which is fine, but he had it for 27 years.
That should be no more than 100.
Yeah, how do you owe more money on a house that you own for 27 years than what you bought it for?
You're working backwards, dog. You're working backwards.
Don't want to be that person.
You do not, dog. You know what's weird, Dan? All that was I think we never sit down and just talk about smart money management, paying down principal. It's just not sexy. No one wants to talk about this stuff except us. No one wants to say pay your mortgage down. Everybody's like,
that's because we ain't sexy, bro.
Listen, y'all, if you want to get wealthy over time, but don't be sexy, join the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide. That is what it's for. If you're looking to be sexy and go out here and try to get rich quick stuff, we're just not the guys for you. And we're cool with saying that. Yeah. I'm like, it took me 22 years to get here.
It took me since 1989 to get it. What is that? 34 years. I'm a 34-year overnight success.
Hey, Castillo wants to know, what are we leaning towards, Dan? Tuesdays and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Saturdays?
It might be Tuesdays and Thursdays with everyone because we've asked everyone their opinion. Looks like the class is going to be Tuesday nights and Thursday nights from 7 to 9. We will definitely finalize that in the email, Mr. Castillo.
If you see some value hanging out with Dan Borrero and me on the side, I'm just kind of, hey, I got my little things that I quirky little untraditional ways we do real estate that has worked for me. Won't work for everybody. But if you see value in having 2 different gurus working with you and helping putting your real estate empire on the right track, go to the video description below, y'all. We'd love to hang out with you and see if you qualify. Derek says he uses his line of credit for rehabs, replacement jobs. Good.
Love it.
Good.
Love it.
Darling Dell. Huh?
I saw that, Darling Dell. What the hell? We're not sexy? What's up? Real estate sexy? We ain't sexy, bro.
But she says we are real estate. But here's the thing. Dan, we all see the gurus talking about to make money 30 days. I'm like, my stomach cringes, It just took me so much longer. Maybe we're not that smart, Dan.
Listen, the reality is, in today's time, what took me 34 years to accomplish, you guys should be able to do it in 10 to 12 years. Speed. Because of what's available to you. Literally, I didn't have the internet like you guys have. I didn't have Dan Borrero and Kris Haskins going live every Sunday night, dropping these golden nuggets for free. Did you have this, Chris?
Nothing. I'm sitting there trying to figure. I did have one local mentor, but she tried to destroy me. Deborah, what do we think about the house that's 110 years old, needs $30K of work, and taking out a home equity line for $150 to pay for the whole thing? Oh, the purchase price, Deborah, is 110. I'm not mad at that. As long as it's worth 200. If you're going to be in it for 140, that thing better be worth a minimum 210, right, Dan? 210,
Yeah,
220?
I mean, me personally,
Minimum.
250 because you got to renovate it, right?
Minimum. Well, she said it's
Yeah,
110 and then 30 to be in it for 250. Oh, 150.
yeah, I'd have to have at least a $70,000 spread on that because the same way it could cost you 30 to renovate, it could cost you another 30 when you start opening up the walls, especially if the house is that old. You
Another
don't know if you're going to find termite problems, structural problems, galvanized plumbing, lead paint. You just have to assume you're going to find those things behind the wall.
the
So,
worst.
I would say, you know, houses, if you're going to be into it for 150 that you're estimating, I would add another 15 to 20% for overrun for what I call the might as wells. Listen, I'm doing this, I might as well fix that now. And for what you don't know what's behind the walls. So that way, if it does run over budget, you're still within the numbers and still making money.
We got Tim Smith on IG said he's going through the contractor mastery class right now. Thank you for your support, my friend.
Thank you.
IG question from Humble Boss Forever. So the time frame terms are about 3 years before tenant buyers actually buy you out. About 3 years. Humble Boss Forever. I don't care. I'll give them 5 years. I asked them what they want. I had one for 8 years. We got a couple for 30 years. I don't care. Let them pick. I just let them pick. It all depends on for me, I know at this point in my life, I know I'm going to pay the house off. I just know it, right? This is what we do, right? This is what we do. So I'm going to have the house paid off. So all the money that's coming in I'm doing no repairs for 30 years. I want y'all to understand this. If I sell a house for $250,000, y'all, check this out. I'm gonna make $750,000. I'm gonna make almost $1 million on a $250,000 house, y'all. I want to make sure y'all understand. This is why the banks have the best real estate in every town and every city in the country.
With the nicest offices, right? The mahogany walls, marble. The top of the desk is marble. It's
gold.
like,
all of them got bathrooms back there in the office. They invite you to go to the private bathroom?
Never.
I've been once. So y'all, the bank, I'm not saying y'all got to do what I do, but just listen to just like Republicans and Democrats, listen to what they saying over here, and then listen to what they saying over there, and let that shit swirl around in your head, and then you decide which one works best for you.
Yeah.
Don't just take one side. That's just craziness.
Arlene Dell says, Dan, we had Carlton Sheets. That's right. For those of you that don't know who Carlton Sheets is, he was like the Bible before Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
There you go.
And I could tell you, I had all his cassette tapes. I'd be listening to them in the car. I had his videotape, his VHS videotapes. I'd be putting into the video machine. And by the way, none of that shit worked. And I tried.
What's a tape?
I tried it.
Humble Boss Forever on IG. Y'all call us up. We got a few more minutes. We're gonna be gone.
Yeah, there's a phone number there. You can call in direct with your questions. 757-204-1332.
IG, I got a question. If you change your mind after 3 years, after the option, let's say Humble Boss, if the option is over, do you evict the tenant or return to an ordinary rental? The good thing about lease options and contract for deeds is the mindset of the tenant buyer. Once they're in there, they're thinking like an owner. Hopefully, if you screen them right? You want people to put down large down payments. And that's not to say that they will, but they just turn into tenants after the options expires. Okay.
Anybody else have a question? So
that's it.
Let's talk a little bit more about home equity lines, guys.
Okay.
I don't recommend anybody use a home equity line or get a home equity line unless you are financially disciplined.
What is financially disciplined, Dan? Define that.
When you have a relationship with money and understand how money works.
You know what? Home equity lines of credit can get your ass in a sling.
Sure can.
Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state where you're calling from and your name. Say that one more time, buddy. Caller, Say that
Yeah,
one more
can you hear
time.
me?
Yeah, state your name and then where you calling
Yeah.
from one more time.
Jermon out of Douglasville, Georgia.
Love it. Thank you, Jamal, for being here.
What up, Jamal? How you doing,
Oh, no,
brother?
man. Y'all, I'm good, brother. I'm good, brother Chris, brother Dan. Y'all my guys, man. I gotta come check y'all out, man. I hopped on late, man. I was prospecting for buyers, man. So my apologies for jumping on late, man.
Bro, don't ever apologize.
Man.
Don't ever apologize for working hard, bro.
Yeah. What type of buyers you prospecting for?
Yeah. Let me ask y'all this. With things are going south like they are right now, with high days on market, you still got agents and realtors telling these owners, not to panic. And out here in Georgia, I can speak specifically for Atlanta market. I'm looking at these higher end homes on the market for well over 100+ days. And last I checked, the closing time in Georgia from start to close is like, 67 days, I think, give or take, something like that. And I'm looking at property on the market for 100+ days. And when you try to reach out to some of these folks, they don't want to relay the message to their clients. It's like, hey, this opportunity here for you to help your client out, help yourself out, because this listing's about to expire most likely in about a month or two. At least have some humble pie and say, hey, we got somebody that maybe looks to do a possible transaction that can make it win-win for everybody.
Creative.
And like I say, I studied
creative financing.
I studied some stuff before, Chris.
You talking about some
creative financing,
okay,
Yeah, and like I said, I do my thing. So, and like I see some stuff before, Chris, and Atlanta, out of the top 15 metros, Atlanta's not even in the top 10, hasn't been in the top 10 for a few years. I can name like 5 other markets that's outpacing Atlanta right now. And people are shocked when I show them here that information that only is being spent outside of Atlanta right now. Like the stuff they're doing out there in Warner Robins, stuff they're doing out there in Macon, Savannah. It's crazy what they got going on right now. And people in Atlanta don't know they about to be in for a world of hurt. And I've been telling them this for the last year and a half that, hey, y'all about to start having problems. But of course, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I just keep my mouth shut and stay humble.
Yeah.
So I could tell you what I normally do in situations like this is, there's a reason why 80% of the real estate is sold by 20% of the realtors. Value came out with an article where they estimate, according to MLS statistics, that 49% of realtors in the United States sell one house or less a year, right?
Wow.
What that tells me is that most realtors, it just confirms what Chris and I already know. Most realtors should not be realtors because you when you're a realtor, you're self-employed, you're a boss. And if you're unwilling to adjust and pivot and change with the market or anticipate how you're going to need to change before the market makes you change, I don't want you as a realtor, but the market needs to educate not only the realtors and the buyers. So you can't convince a fool that he's a fool.
No.
You got to let him. You got to let his life experience teach him that he's the fool.
There you go.
Right. And then when the mindset changes because the marketplace is forcing them to change, then that's when the opportunities arrive.
Yeah, you need some more. The sellers got to be a little more motivated. They're not motivated enough. Yeah.
Definitely. Also, to feedback what you were saying, Dan, I had saw like what the stat last year, out of 66% of the homes that were listed last year, all the homes that were listed last year, 66% of them didn't even sell. And they were saying nationwide, the top realtors nationwide only sold maybe 5 properties, like you said, at best, 5 homes at best.
They're good with
nationwide. That. These like the top of the top realtors nationwide. And I was like, yeah, it hammers on what you're saying. So if people haven't seen anything yet, this is just a warm up.
Yeah, man. Listen, if I was a realtor and I'm only selling 5 homes a year, I'd quit. I'm gonna suck at what I do.
You're in trouble. I'm so glad you got the mindset of converting these people over to conventional, because he who understands creative financing over the next 5 to 6 years, they're gonna crush the business. You're gonna crush it.
Crush it.
Definitely. Definitely. But I ain't gonna call, man. I just wanted to, call in and show my love, man. That
I got love for y'all, man. I never met y'all in person, but one day I look to shake y'all hands, hug y'all, and treat y'all to a beer or something.
Thank you, brother.
dog.
Appreciate
Good
that,
seeing
man. Love the love.
We got another caller coming in.
All right.
Dan, I want everybody to understand a healthy market. A healthy market is 6 months.
6
We
months.
all get scared. You know, we all get scared. Oh, 1 second, caller. 1 second, caller. We get scared. We used to selling 10 offers, right? We used to get 10 contracts. I'm like, y'all, relax. A healthy market is 6 months, okay? So don't think just because your house ain't sold that you ain't gonna be able to sell it quickly. Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Frischban, and I'm calling from.
Alejandra,
Yeah.
I got 6 people calling in. No one calling. No one. Alejandra, where you calling from?
New York City.
Love it. New York City in the house. Give a clap to Alejandra.
I'm gonna try to spell this, but don't get mad at me if I butcher it. So shit.
Alejandra, how can we help you?
Well, I have an issue.
Well, we the issue solvers.
Properties.
Shit, we the issue solvers. That's what we do.
That's why I'm calling you. I mean, I have an issue. I have a house that where it was a fire on it, and the fire has a very decent equity, about 50%. So the house is worth about $600,000, and I only own like $290,000 to $80,000.
Okay.
And then I have another house that's about $450,000, but that house is being paid off. I settled with the bank. We were on a foreclosure, and we settled for $200,000. The issue that I have right now is that I don't have capital in order for me to fix the burnt property.
Okay, so you have 2 properties. Do they on the first property
Right.
you owe money on? The second property you don't owe any money on?
Correct.
Okay.
Which one did you? The fire one is the one that you owe on still, or you don't owe on.
Right. The fire one I owe $280,000, and the value over here is between $600,000 to $700,000.
Okay, but is it 700,000 after you renovate it or before you renovate it?
After I renovate it.
Okay, so the value is what it is right now because you'd have to put in the renovations to get it up to
Yeah,
700.
the shit caught on fire.
Yeah. So
ARV.
Well, the value right now could be $400,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Because
it's not
here in
enough.
New York,
You don't have enough equity. I would take the loan against the first house because you don't owe anything on it, and it's a very simple loan.
But
You
she
could
already got. Hold on.
No.
Did you take the money from the insurance and pay off the second house? Is that what you said?
Yes. It was a settled case.
Got
It
it.
was a 3-year case.
You took that money over there.
They don't pay exactly repairs. So we settled, and at the same time that I settled with the insurance company, the bank sent me an offer, and I paid off that property. So now I own a property, free and clear. But the other property, I did maybe 200 and 250.
Yeah.
The property you own free and clear, is that your personal home where you live?
No, it's into an LLC. It's an investment property.
I would take the loan against the property that's free and clear and just fix up the second property.
She already.
No, she didn't. She owns it free and clear.
Right, that's my plan. That's my plan. But every time I apply for a loan, they start looking into my personal finance, and but this is a business loan because it's under an
LLC. You need to go with what they call a it used to be called no income check. Look for a DSCR loan where they're not looking at you.
They're not giving her no money. Not on no. They got to have a resident in there, dog. They're looking at the income on the property.
Do you have income on that property that's free and clear?
Not at all. No. The one that is
problem.
free and clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So they will give you a loan, a DSCR loan, which is basically a no income check loan. And what they're saying is, we'll give you a loan based on your credit history, if your credit's good, and based on how much that property could pay in a mortgage. And then, so basically, it's strictly on what the property value is and what the property could cash flow, as well as your credit score. They won't ask you anything about your personal finances. Now, if your credit score is not good, then that's a different argument. I would tell you to spend some money, go to credit repair agency, and fix your credit.
Oh, my credit card, my credit score is very good. But where can I find those type of loans? Because a lot of people tell me about different loans, but when I go to the bank, it's hard for me to find. They always want to find me.
Do you follow me on social media?
Yes, I do.
Okay, send me a DM tonight, and I will send you I will give you a name to a mortgage broker tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Sure, I will.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dan. Thank you, guys.
No problem, Alejandra.
Dan, I don't quite understand that. Can you use the money from the fire insurance and pay off another house? Oh, I don't want to speak.
Because it took her 2 years to settle with the insurance company, so they just stroked her a check and said goodbye. Were there other callers, Chris?
Oh, yes, we've been an hour. I had to turn away about 5 people because they only call. Y'all only call when other people on the damn.
Yeah, listen. Let's take another call. Put up the line. We'll stay on.
Listen, y'all. If you haven't signed up to have a phone call to have a quick consultation with me and Dan, there you go, right there in the video description. We're opening it up. We're done. We finally did it. The ultimate landlord survival guide. We want you to train your tenants to do business with you, and don't let them train you. So get started. Just all you got to do is set up a call. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, we want to make sure that this mastermind is going to work for you and that you're the right fit for us, as well as if we're the right fit for you.
That's true. That's true.
So if anybody wants to call in that wasn't able to get on before, please do.
It's
757-204-1332. Again.
Dana said you're going way back with that Carlton Sheets thing, Dan.
Showing my age with that, right?
7. How are you seeing the impact of AI in the real estate industry, and how are you working with it if you are?
AI is affecting every single industry, and either you embrace it and learn it and adapt to it, or you're going to get left behind.
You're left behind, dude. Especially with this.
Hey guys.
This thing where they're predicting late payments and shit. That shit is crazy. Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. State your name. Where you calling from, buddy?
Hey, CJ from New York. Hey, Chris. Hey, Dan. First, real fast, those times of the essence. Just appreciate the knowledge and experience that you guys are sharing. God bless you guys.
Get our wives in here, man. Get the wives in here. Shit.
All right. Listen.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Can you talk into the mic?
Okay. Dan, so I know you got a lot of investments down in Florida. I just want to know your experience with these condos, getting them, purchasing them as an investment property in an LLC. Because I recently saw a couple of things in Clearwater, which I kind of like. I've been down there a few times. These are condos where after like 2 years you go ahead and lease them out. What's the experience with I guess there's probably a condo board in getting making that purchase using LLC. What's the experience like? Is it a difficult process, or most boards would just say go ahead?
So I could barely hear you on the second question, but I'll answer the first one. So what's happening in the state of Florida is a few years back, there was a very big building that fell in the southern part of the state and killed a lot of people, right?
God.
And the reason was because the HOA, they just kept kicking the can down the road with these major structural repairs. And then the other problem was that there is an organization through the State Department that oversees the HOA's management licenses, and they had received complaints, but they never acted on those complaints. And then the buildings department had complaints. They never acted on those complaints, and neither did the fire department. So DeSantis, because the state's getting sued by all these families, DeSantis had a knee-jerk reaction like every politician. They have knee-jerk reactions without thinking the total catastrophe of their policies. And they ordered every building that's over 2 stories high to go through 2 different studies. One was a financial study, 2 was
Mhm.
a structural study. And then he also ordered every single fire department to go through every single building over 2 stories high with a fine-tooth comb. And they're coming out with these ridiculous orders that they're imposing on these buildings, even HOAs that were actually doing the right job. So now these HOAs,
Right.
just 2 studies alone, are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars that they weren't accounting for. And now they also, DeSantis came out and said, hey, if you're depreciating a roof over 30 years, that's no longer acceptable. You got to depreciate it over 17 years, which means that
Oh.
everyone's HOA payments have got to go way up because now that roof has got to get changed 10 years sooner, right? So things like that is
Right.
what, right? Knee-jerk reaction because of politicians that never had a real job. They've been living off the government financial tit their entire adult life, right? So what happens
Right.
is that it's increasing these HOAs with special assessments. So you have people that are on fixed incomes, they can't afford it. In conjunction with the increase of insurance that no one's fighting, not even the state, they can't afford it, right? So the HOAs are getting hit with this additional cost because of these laws that came out from DeSantis, the governor, and then they're getting hit with all these additional insurance increases, sometimes double the amount over 3 years, and they got to pass that on to the condo owners. So personally, I think if you stay within the buildings that are 2 stories and below, you're probably going to be really good. But if you have the guts, I think in the next year, with this recession that I suspect's coming, there's gonna be a shitload of opportunities
For buying, you saying, Dan?
with those increases.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of information.
no, good. I appreciate that. So, and so going through the LLC route, you think that
You can go the LLC route, but remember something, CJ. When you buy a property with an LLC, your finance cost is going to cost more. The interest rate's going to be slightly higher, and your closing costs are going to be higher. If you own less than 10 properties, I would tell you buy everything under your personal name and go get an umbrella policy for another $2 or $3 million for just liability in case there's a catastrophe.
Got you. All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. I hope this helps somebody else.
Thank you,
all right.
brother.
Thank you so much, guys. All right. Keep up the good work.
Much
All right,
love
cool.
to you.
I got to tell you, that was a great question.
That was a good one. Thanks, Dan, for dropping that wisdom. Don't everybody love Dan?
Oh, come on. Everyone loves Chris.
Thank you, Dan, for taking the time out of your day. Y'all don't know, Dan is extremely grumpy. He can be mean at times. So y'all don't see a lot of this stuff that I have to. I'm like the guy. I'm like the road manager, right? I'm like, Dan, I don't know. We need to.
Damn, bro. You hear this, people? Come on, guys. You think I'm grumpy? Let me put it into the chat.
Who thinks Dan's grumpy?
You think I'm grumpy? Put in grumpy Dan.
They already know. What even do they think? Do they think you grumpy? You out of your mind.
So Chris calls me up today. Chris and I, we must have spoken, I don't know, at least a dozen times today.
Way more than that.
Yeah. And
or last couple of days.
And yesterday we spoke a dozen times, and he's like, "Man, when do you rest?" Right? Would you ask me? Like, do you ever take
robot? Well, I guess I got a 4-year-old running around all day, and then when you call, I gotta get up. But you got quiet time.
Mr. Chu says grumpy Dan. AMG says not as grumpy as Gerald Peters. This is true. Mr. Castillo says
Rosemary. That's one of our ultimate landlords. She says you're not grumpy in the least. Rosemary, I don't know.
Another ultimate landlord family member, guys. Guys, we are launching our mastermind class that we've been working on for over a year. For over a year. And you guys have that
Again.
opportunity. Is the link below, Chris?
Yep.
To
Join us.
schedule a 15-minute consultation with us.
See if it's a fit
Because
for
we
you.
want to make sure that that you are in a position that this class will fit for you as well as you fitting for the class, right?
Yep.
We want to make sure you understand and you have the right mindset and understand that this is going to be an intense class, 2 hours a day, 2 days a week, 4 weeks in a row
With homework, and if you get the homework wrong, you die.
with homework, with a 127-page workbook. This is not,
Good
you know,
Lord.
faint of heart. So if you'd like to be part of the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide family, go and schedule your 15-minute one-on-one with us, because once we reach a certain amount of seats, we're closing it off. We are
I
closing it
appreciate you for doing that, Dan.
And I want everyone to understand we're halfway there already.
Yeah, we're just about done with this thing,
And
man.
we've only
We're
been
just
we
about
and
done.
we opened it up first to the people that put their names on the waiting list. We sent all those people emails. Unfortunately, only about 25% have responded. So which gives you guys the opportunity to jump in.
That's a good point. Early registration is right now.
Yeah,
Right
early
now it goes away.
registrations right now, guys.
We got a
Um,
bunch of things here. You got IG on there too? I didn't get IG.
it says, do you think starting off buying land is good to start with versus getting into flipping first? Um, Listen, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I've done both forever.
Mm.
If depending on the opportunity, if the land opportunity presented itself first with a great return, I'm jumping on that. And if the fix and flip presented itself first, I'm jumping on that. I don't stay in a box. Do you ever stay in a box, Chris? Have you ever said to one family houses with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath in this specific area and not leave that area?
That's why I can't stand when somebody talking to me like, what
You
type
there,
of
Chris?
properties do you? Yeah, did I lose you? One,
Hello,
two.
hello, hello.
Dan. You getting real shaky on your
Looks like
side.
we may be losing Chris. So I'll answer that question. I don't believe that you should put yourself in a box. You need all the sides of the business because there are multiple ways to make money in this business.
I can see you still. I
Yeah.
can see you.
I can see-
Y'all, when you ask somebody what their buy box, if you ask, Dan's gonna whack you in the head. Don't be asking what's your buy box. I can't stand it. Like, what type of property do you buy? I'm like, anything to make money. What do you mean? I don't care.
Right? I hate when a wholesaler call. What's your buy box? And I'm like, you dumb son of a bitch. You had 6 seconds, 3 to 6 seconds to get my attention on the phone. And the first thing you're going to ask me is, what's my buy box? You dumb son of you suck at what you do. Because if you were any good at what you do, you would have went to my website. You would have checked my Instagram account, my Facebook account. And you can see what my buy box is. You know what that is? Everything. It don't matter if it's
Does it
commercial,
make money?
condos, single family homes, industrial, as long as it makes money. Don't now I know don't not only can't you call me again, I blocked your ass. Don't ever call me again.
It doesn't make money. Don't call. Y'all call when you got a deal. You know what's weird? You always tell when a new trainer is a guru is teaching something, and I spend thousands of dollars on ads, and I'm like, did you know you just fill me out, y'all? When y'all ask me, y'all go to the Google and type in "sell my house, Virginia Beach"? Every time you see me up there, it's $350. So when an MFer, I'm not gonna curse. When an MFer called me and say, "Hey, what's your buy box?" I'm like, you just cost me $350. I'm trying not to get pissed because now I'm paying to get people just to ask me questions about what I don't want to talk about that.
See, you too nice. I think you dumb son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that they'll bring a deal one day, Dan. But all I'm saying is, if you see a person that's paying to be on Google and you call them, yes, they buying houses.
Chris, if they ask you what your buy box is, they ain't bringing you shit. They're too dumb to do anything. They broke.
Y'all see now who's the grumpy? I told y'all Dan grumpy. Darlene Dell said she picked up the half acres you helped her with yesterday.
Yeah, because she called me up on gather some information.
All right, we gone, Dan.
Pleasure helping you. All right, guys. So one more time, you want to tell them about the Ultimate Landlord Guide schedule?
Yeah, set up a call with us. There's a link below. All you gotta do is hit the button. You'll see my Calendly link. You'll see my calendar. You'll get both of us. I'm honored to be able to do these with Dan. I don't think we think about this a lot, Dan. We get to talk to each other. You know, I get to call him. He texts me. It's really cool to have. And you know what's weird, Dan? We've been knowing each other since 19. It's weird how relationships kind of morph around, and they start doing this, and then they spread, and they come back. And now me and Dan, good friends. I've been with the dinner with him. You know, it's really cool how relationships can grow if you nurture them. You know, I've flown up there to meet Dan, so I know the capacity of him as a human being, and I get to share it with y'all. So thank you, Dan.
I appreciate that so much. Remember, guys, the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide. We've been working on this for over a year. It's finally here. It's going to be limited seats. We are not opening this up to the public, to just anyone. If you want to join this class, we're going to have to interview you. And the interview is more to make sure that you're the right fit and that we're the right fit for you, right? If you want to become that ultimate landlord, the landlord that truly is training their tenants, training their vendors,
and
surviving with making money, learning how to minimize your tenant turnover, maximize your cash on cash return, maximizing your cash flow. That all, it's not just about only managing your tenants. It's about how you manage that property from beginning to end, from the first moment that you buy the property to the moment that you're renting that property to the moment that you're managing that tenant and managing the repairs. So, you know, it's all combined together. And this is why this class is going to be extremely extensive. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. You're going to have a lot of endurance, because we are going to be putting in a ton of information on there. But the one thing I will guarantee everyone is that any challenge they're presented with, they will know how to manage that challenge once they're finished with this class.
Dan, would you mind doing me a favor, man? We got to sing happy birthday to. I got a round up family member right here.
Who's that?
Cameron. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cameron. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday. God bless you. Get signed up for the... Hey, what you do? What's going on? Come and say happy birthday.
That's got to be the first time we've ever done that. I love that.
Hurry up. Say happy birthday. Somebody want to say happy birthday. Say happy birthday.
Say happy birthday.
Right here. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Happy birthday.
Get out of here. You little stinker. All right, y'all. We'll see you on our Ultimate Landlord interviews. And Dan, I'll see you soon, bro.
Take care, everyone.
Peace, y'all.